Mm. Well, good morning, guys. Looks like it might be a small
Oh
meeting.
yeah. How late is it for you now?
It's only 9 o'clock, but we woke up for a meeting that got canceled at 8. So now then we tried to go back to sleep and didn't really work. Mm.
Hey
All
guys.
right.
Morning, Chris.
Good morning, Chris.
I
Good
do want
morning.
to. Good morning. I do want to say something. Please don't change the standard uh thing on YouTube. For 3 weeks, all of our videos have been unlisted, and all have the title Common Stack Update. So
It's so
I
weird. I never try to change the default. I just go in there and change it for one video. You know.
no, you
Same.
never. You always use the wrong one. You always use the template thing. Because to change that thing, you would need to go and edit the video that's being streamed right now, which is also possible, which you can do, which is what I usually do when I stream something like an event. But you uh, clicked on something else, which I don't have anymore. Let's see. I have the new studio. Um,
Studio confusing, but it can also be caused by that because I also never change anything in the default setting as far as I know.
So yeah, Griff goes to he just clicks on live streaming, which is fine usually. But this is really the template. I don't know why. They should have it, they should do it better. So let me change it back again.
I'm sorry,
But
Cole.
it's okay. But Griff, what you should do is click on Video Manager and you can
Yeah.
try it. The it's just very slowly loading for me.
Even the common stack ones, none of them should be unlisted actually.
Some of them, occasionally, we talk about things that I don't think would be with, like when we were talking about, oh, what advisors we are not going to accept, or or if an advisor said one thing or another. I don't know. Sometimes it gets a little sensitive.
Yeah, but then it's best for you to like put it in the title or something. Otherwise, it's going to be difficult for Kai to know which ones to keep on list.
No, so you don't click on Video Manager. You click on, I think, just YouTube again. No, my channel.
I usually just go to the video
Oh
itself
yeah. I don't know
and
why.
then hit edit.
They should have it.
And when I hit edit on the video, then it shows me this thing, this template.
Same.
All right, so I will just share my screen. Having a little bit of a maintenance session here. So here is what I did. I discovered that all the videos are unlisted and with the wrong title. So we'll have a little admin session.
Oh, Poland has a cool picture. Apparently, we can add a picture now.
You just have to set your gravatar.
Ooh.
No, I'll post it in the chat window.
I think I've done that.
Hey, man. So what you really do is you try to somehow go to Giveth Transparency while being logged in as Giveth Transparency.
Yeah.
And then you can just see here, like it's a regular video live now, and we click on this, and this just brings us to this, which is the regular view. And I think, so that's what you do, huh? You
Yeah,
click edit video here.
yeah, that's exactly what I do.
Damn it, YouTube. No, it should be okay. And here, Giveth commuter.
Okay, so maybe we can start, Chris?
We are starting. This is very important, actually. Which one is it? 77?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it's important, but it's not
I know.
gonna fix it, right? Because this is
And
Oh, I like the playlist drop down.
all right. It saved it. And here in our live dashboard, which is the real thing, it should have stayed the same. But you can now go to like you can start, yeah.
Okay, so well, let's start with what did we do last week? Who wants to start?
what did I do? So as mentioned before, I'm still on a low worker rhythm to save some money for Giveth and to just like also for myself working in my house. So that's what I'm doing. I'm working in my house. I did join the decentral organization meeting. I did a final read through of Jeff's conviction voting Medium post, added some comments through Jeff's rigorous token engineering article and added many comments in that one. I did some research in how to adapt Node, but I still need to do some more on that one. Then I had a call with Jeff on last things that needed to be done for this article and other thingies. I published a conviction voting article and shared it. We didn't have a comms meeting. Then I booked my stay in Barcelona and for a common stack work and today I'll get all things figured out before I leave. And after this call, I also have another call with Jeff on future art. Now that's it, and I give it to Jeff.
All right. Last week, let's see. Yes, conviction voting article is out and live. Had a couple of calls, presented the common stack at the ETH organizers call, and TCR CCC, the Community Collaboration Coalition call. Lots of diagram drawing this past week. I've been working with a couple of graphic designers, Amy, and had a call with Max as well from Magic Powered. Also set up a chat with JP to discuss potentially Nature 2.0 visual artists helping out with the common stack stuff. Had a couple touch points with Block Science, Jonathan and Z. Went over some user stories with Griff and Spawnette. And today I am working on spreading our conviction voting article far and wide and scheduling our advisor meeting for August and a bunch of other small admin stuff. And I pass it on to Kai.
All right. I had some calls as well with for the node thingy, unconference thing with Josh and Paul Lansky and Lindsay from Web3 now. This is actually nice. Maybe Jeff, you want to get in contact with me about common stack stuff in the node. I'm not sure who is coming from the people here. I think nobody except Jeff, but please correct me. Um, so we won't do a lot like last year, but we will be there and try to hold up the flag and make some fish bowls. Yeah, I helped with some little common stack stuff, Typeform. Had a call with Lorenzo, our guy from the Kasha Hub. I had a call with Max from, I think it should be Fire Labs, no, 4IR Labs. So our Max Semenchuk, about actually governance related stuff. In he wants to bridge us a little to or like bridge the Gov lab a little bit into his whole dgov web. I did some dev stuff, which is actually more for maybe Michael. I'm setting up a Prometheus instance, which should be monitoring. Among other things, this can do a lot. It's basically fully analytics and whatnot. And its first purpose will be, however, to alert us if anything is down from our infrastructure. And I'm in the process of setting this up. And I give it to Lorelai.
Thanks. Thanks for remembering I'm here, even though I'm on Griff's screen. Yeah, this week I have been working a lot with Alibre and Castor Limon, setting up this little sprint time that we're gonna have together to make sure this video submission for the UNICEF grant happens, so that UNICEF can be paying them to do work that benefits all of us. And I've been doing regular unicorn DAC stuff, as well as making some more progress moves on that. Just reaching out to contributors and telling them the new processes, and trying and talking with Frederick about having a scheduled reminder message bot. And lots of common stack stuff as well, and family a little bit, but it's been more of a work time than at least our first week that we landed here. And this meeting, I am not too distracted. I am intending to have a conversation about Chris's proposal, and I honestly don't know if there are other ones because I didn't look at the message. And yeah, Chris, did you check in yet? No? Okay, Griff?
Yeah. Yeah, Chris started. So let's see. This week it's been a lot of family stuff for me, at least, because I played basketball with my family at Hoop Fest, and then went bowling with my sisters, just driving across the state. Did a lot of decentral stuff. Went and worked on all the bikes, and worked on all the, like, the bureaucracy, getting what we need to buy, and all this stuff kind of situated. Um, and lots of decentral stuff. Did some New York City planning. I'm heading to New York City, and trying to figure out who to meet up with and do interviews with. And I'm speaking at a meetup on the 10th, I think, with Luke. It's another Radical Exchange meetup, so that's cool. Did a not I did a little bit of common stock stuff, not as much as usual, but reviewing documents, naming, and just various other common stack things, mostly helping other people achieve their goals. And then there was a solid little bit of Telegraph work, working on getting them a Mullet grants and seeing if we can find something there for them. And also on the grant side of things, well, sort of grant side of things, working with Argon for token bonding curves for GraceAid and DAppNode, which both GraceAid is trying to do a bonding curve that connects to Giveth, and DAppNode is doing a bonding curve that just connects to an Argon DAO, but there are lots of discussions with them about that. I also applied for talks at DevCon and scholarship stuff, and including started the process about potentially being a community sponsor at DevCon. I don't know. I need to make a Lumia about that if people think it's a good idea. And then also kind of the big thing this week that's coming up is Rafa might be interested in actually helping us out a little bit on the DApp. So that's really interesting, and seeing if he can like help us build a team a little bit more. So I'll have more discussions with him. Actually, we'll have a meeting with him after this. So I'll pass it to Bowen.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's been a very decentral and docentral filled week for me. I've done tons of research to help Dan out to make sure that the sound system is spec'd properly. We started DJ application thing, to make sure that they have people to play the car. Lots of like helping him visualize how and where to like set the speakers and stuff on the car, and so that's been kind of a fun experience. Working with Josh Duchesne to make sure that the application for Burning Man, the media application, goes through, and writing a proposal for the speakers group, which we're gonna post in channel later today. Big long thing about like recording and how the stage is set up and stuff like that. Trying to think of what all else. I thought that Jeff's article was awesome. It was really, I understood everything, and it was very well written, and I liked it. So thank you for that. I'm not really distracted, and I'm looking forward to hearing how we hash out Chris's proposal. So I guess it's back to the facilitator.
Yeah, I think that's everyone. Well, okay, so
Oh, and I got my passport, which was kind of a big deal. So anyway, sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, getting a passport is awesome. I can't wait to see you in Japan, Bowen. But yeah, so let's move on to. We only have one Lumio that I know of, which is Unicorn DAC discussion with Chris. I don't know if there's like a clear proposal, but you can take it away, Chris. Chris, are you there?
Oh, can you hear me now?
Yep.
Okay, it was dropped some stuff and broke some stuff, so I was half unplugged. Okay, so yeah, I was actually kind of hesitating to even table it entirely, because I would prefer not to have an endless discussion on this. So if we don't go too long, I wouldn't mind it. So there is actually a proposal in there, but nobody really reacted to it. I'll just state it as attention as a proposal, and then we can do a reaction round and clarification if needed. Well, in the other direction. So the tension that I saw that we kind of discussed in the Unicorn DAC meeting that we had before was that well, there are 3 points that I listed as a tension. First of all, you have an overall delay in payments, not because people are not like assigning quick enough, because most of the people are doing that, but for the simple reason that we have about double the amount in milestones than that we have the amount being assigned to milestones. So this is de facto causing a huge delay in payment for all regular reward people, and that is causing tension, I think, for many people. The second point is in the tension is that I do not really think that it improves the idea of like having just delegations. It might take some of like the workload out of Griff's hands, but at the same time, I do not think that we currently decide anything. We just try to fill the milestones, and they're virtually all of them are regular reward milestones. So it's always a very hard thing to do, to like pick one over the other, and see which one should now be filled. And so I think many of us put quite some time in like seeing like, okay, I filled that one last week, so now I have to fill this one. Otherwise those people are going to think that I think something of them. And so to me that's like and also check, you know, which ones have already been filled or delegated to, and click on all the milestones. So I don't think it adds anything, because in our current situation, it's mostly regular rewards. And so I don't think there's a juster or a more decentralized allocation of funds there. So that is the second point. And the third point is related to that, and I already have said, is that it creates a lot of unnecessary overhead. There is now like every week 4 to 6 people going into a sheet, and like figuring all of that out, whereas it does not really add any value. And on top of that, there's all the work that then Lorelei has to do, because we decide, okay, this week I'm just gonna distribute my 600 over 3 different milestones, which is triple the work for Lorelei, but it doesn't mean that we're more, decentralized or just in any way. So I just do not see in the current system, although its intentions make total sense in the current system, in the current scarcity situation that we are, I do not think that it adds a lot. I think we're ready to draw some lessons from this and move on. So this is a lot of information, but I guess you all read through it. But in short, the intention is that we have a delay in payments. There's not an improvement in just allegations, and it creates quite some unnecessary overhead. So my proposal now was simply that as long as the current situation lasts, where Giveth does not have a lot of extra funding, or any even, that we just give delegation power to Lorelei, so that she can spread our weekly amount, well, the total weekly amount that is available by the unicorns, that she just spreads this over all the milestones that are in the sheet. The only thing that unicorns then still need to do is actually just list their milestones in the sheet, so that Lorelei knows where to put the money, and indicate in a sheet like, yes or no, I also want to have the additional 150 unicorn milestone on top of regular rewards. So in that way, we take away the unnecessary overhead. We take away the distribution work that does not really add anything. And the delay in payments becomes a little bit less frustrating, in the sense that it is just filled in the order of the milestones and in the number of milestones that are in there. And an important note to make here is that at all times, Griff can and is allowed, as a giver, as a donor, to like give money to circles, so that people can fill specific milestones as he sees fit, because he's the donor, so he does whatever he wants. But it just takes away this unnecessary layer that we now have, because I think I would prefer that we spend time on getting work done and getting funding. That's the most important thing. Then I read all of your comments, so thank you for putting so much time in this. I'm not gonna react to all of them. No, I'm just not, because I wouldn't know where to start. So this is my proposal, that we take away this layer for now, and that we simplify the process until we come up with a new system in the future. So, any clarifying questions?
I'm just curious if you had like any plan for like the amount that's outside of the amount Griff decides he wants to spend per week that like is still deficit from people's rewards. Like say Griff decides he wants to put in the same amount that he's been putting into the unicorn DAC. Well, you did the math and found out that's what only half of the regular rewards needed. Like I was wondering if you had any plan for that in all of this, because it still wouldn't it sounds like it wouldn't solve that tension.
No, it would not. And I think that is a good tension to have. It's also a thing that Griff already stated a few times. We just have a scarcity of funds. And I think that is just a reality. It will just motivate people to create their milestones quicker. That's all. And then you get into that list and then you get like funds. And if you do an extraordinary job, then Griff can just like say like, hey, I'm going to like give you some funds directly into, I'm going to fund your milestone directly. Or if you're in money trouble, Griff can do that as well, just like he does now. But the fact that there is a delay in payments and that you will have to wait a little bit for milestones to be filled, I think that is fine. It will just be, it will feel to me juster because it will be evenly, everyone will have to wait, and the money will be equally divided and not by chance because someone puts a line on top of the list that milestone gets filled quicker. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. So no, I think having less money going in than what we need, that is just a reality that we need to deal with, and it can make us, for us all, the priority to really like focus on funding. Other clarifying questions?
It's just me for writing the notes or whatever. I don't know if it's so important, but I could not. There's so much about this thing, so I could not really shorten it down because the proposal is like a few things. I was just maybe thinking of maybe you can visit this and edit something about like just the proposal section or restate your proposal. For I have now take away the unicorn DAC layer, centralized delegation more to some and appoint somebody, and in brackets Lorelei, and I don't know what the rest was.
No, that I think that makes sense. The proposal is that we stick to the maximum amount until that currently exists, until we get external funding, and give delegation power to Lorelei if she wants it, to spread the amount evenly over all milestones. So it's actually just, you can also just link to the Lumia proposal. It's all in there.
All right.
All right, I'm going to do my best to phrase this as a question. But how does this serve any intention whatsoever of the unicorn DAC? It sounds to me that this is just eliminating the unicorn DAC and all of the intentions that were behind it. I don't see how we would even be able to claim 150 die on a weekly or any basis at all, because we're not, that additional overhead that was being distributed in order for us to use the system, look at what people are doing and be informed and make decisions, has just been completely eradicated. So I guess my question is, if this is the proposal, then why wouldn't we just put the unicorn DAC on pause and put that amount of funds into the campaign circle holders or something, or fund the milestones through another way? Because to me, this eliminates pretty much every intention of the unicorn DAC.
No, that's a really good question. It's also what I put in one of my notes. I am completely open to like taking out that 150 extra, because to me it really makes no sense. It even frustrates me a bit that we would get paid 150 per week extra to do a layer of administration that it seems we all pretty much agree on does not add anything right now. So
I don't agree to that. Actually,
okay,
I just want to say I don't agree to that at all. I do
okay,
think that this is the pains of decentralization that we do need to do that layer. Otherwise, why don't we just hire Lorelei to be our payroll person?
okay. So sorry, I'll let's go to a reaction round in a second. I'll rephrase that because otherwise I'm indeed putting words in people's mouths. I didn't want to do that. So I'll say it like this: I don't feel that so many people spending every week time on going through a sheet and doing this administration and spending all of our valuable brain power on checking if milestones have already been filled and if maybe if it's not in the sheet, maybe it's already in the DAP or the other way around. And for all the tensions mentioned above, I do not think that creates anything extra. I do not think that creates more decentralization. Again, see the Lumia proposal. So I am completely personally open to taking that 150 away and giving that power and paying that person to actually do that. I don't think it makes sense. I don't think there's an added value. That's why I'm proposing this. So I'm fine to answer the question to put it on hold until we have more funds and until we really can learn again lessons out of the Unicorn DAC initiative. I think all the lessons that we could have learned, we have learned right now. Any other clarifying questions?
I kind of have one, just because I want to make sure that I understand. Is so the proposal is similar to the idea of putting the Unicorn DAC on pause until such a time as funding isn't quite as scarce and we have the ability to do what we wanted to do in the first place, which was to kind of operate as a DAO in order to be the parts of the entity that decided where to distribute funds, but maybe not necessarily just to our own rewards milestones, correct?
Yep, that is correct. You can say we put the Unicorn DAC on pause, or we get ready to evolve it into something new that that is beneficial to us as an organization and that brings an added value.
Okay. So do you think it would be a good idea to maybe we have a Lumio to propose things that we would eventually evolve it into? Like, different ways to do what we're doing now that might be less administration and overhead.
Well, I made a concrete proposal here right now to do less administration and overhead. So that is a proposal. But if you see other ways of doing that, feel free to make more or extra Lumia proposals, of course. But this is one to actually do that.
Thank you.
Reaction round? Are you down? Well, I can react first. So, I honestly don't see that much benefit. I see the tension, but I don't see a whole lot of. I don't see how this proposal totally actually solves the tension. Because Lorelei will now be just judged about whether or not she distributed it equally, and uh, and she will still have to go to the sheet and delegate, and will still run into making issues in the DAP, which slows down the delegation, and running out of money occasionally, which slows down delegations, and uh, everyone will still have to go into the sheets and put in their milestones. I mean, if we want to, if I feel like if the proposal is to end the Unicorn DAC, then let's end the Unicorn DAC and just let me delegate to all the money like what was happening before. But I see the value in having unicorns spend time and everyone individually spending time to see and decide who deserves what money this week. We have had in this last few months, Michael has been able to do regular rewards, but he hasn't really been putting in the time, or Kai was on vacation recently, and it's like when people kind of disappear a little bit, then you would expect them to not get as fast of payments as Chris or Danny or someone who has been putting on a lot of visible work. And then if having I feel like part of the problem is you don't want to have to decide who gets paid, but that's actually the whole point of the experiment. So like uh and that's why it's important, is because it shouldn't be one person deciding who gets paid. It should be like everyone deciding who gets paid. And I feel like the real problem is that we don't have we haven't had a strong DApp team for a long time. So a lot of the delay in payments are because Lorelai's making GitHub issues, and she's the only one delegating, so she's the only one making GitHub issues. So instead of like what we were hoping to do with this, where there's a DAO and everyone is delegating directly on their own and there's no Lorelei spreadsheet, we did this middle ground, and then we lost all of our DApp team, and we couldn't actually get a DAO working on the DApp. So we're getting closer to that, actually, now that Andre is actually closing more issues than are being opened, which is cool. But yeah, it's still going to be a while, and I just don't think this proposal addresses the tensions adequately enough to make a change. That's my opinion. If we want to make a change, we can do it way more drastically. Okay, I'll pass it to Kai.
Interesting. I don't know. I do think it would. I don't think it addresses the problems either. Because the problems are really that there is no funding. Um, in an ideal world, I would say we could ask ourselves more. These really the question is why are we not getting any funding, or why is it hard for us to get external funding and maybe work more here. I will also try to shift more of my work towards the DApp and improving that thing, because I feel this is the core mission of Giveth right now, is to attack our value thing and I don't know, go be of more value to the community, which can be only with a better DApp that's maybe more for all the people and not only for us, maybe one that can be used by all the people, which sounds idealistic, but we just have a very good version of it. And it nowadays, I think we should really ask ourselves, how close are we to like next iterations and these kind of things. So this is a bit unrelated, to be honest, or just related and not directly addressing the question. I'm not supporting the proposal. We could put it on pause, but the only sensible way would be to have money in the circles, and then the circles paying the regular rewards. And yeah, our real problem is, so there's no money. How do circles react? And the whole reaction of circles is non-existent. There's just we never made these, we never fixed those. We don't have any contracts or anything about this situation. And I think I'm running in a circle anyway. I think I wrote this down here. I would love to go more into the direction Griff just said, that we can be a DAO and we can have DAOs on the DApp. That would help a lot. And I give it to Dani.
Right I'm sorry. I hit the wrong button and I missed whatever Griff said, but I read his statement on the Lumio, and that's the direction I feel we do need to go, is to apply more energy into getting this, we're talking about the Unicorn DAC here, so getting it into that DAO state, I think, is the important part here. And what Chris is proposing, I believe, is what do we do right now until we can get that up? Honestly, I just think it's either we pause the UDAC because it's not fulfilling its function, or we continue doing it in a slightly modified format that allows us to test what we need to test towards becoming a DAO managed community. So I'm sorry that I missed part of what was already said, but I just want to say I'm really sad. I'm really sad about this because I think it is important that we all take a portion of the administrative responsibilities. And I appreciate the Unicorn DAC for providing value back to us for doing that. But if we're just not able to do that,
We're losing you, Danny. Are you there? Hey, Danny, we lost you, but I think you're back. Maybe not.
okay. Let me know.
Not really.
And,
Maybe we'll give it back to you in a second. If you can find better internet.
although now it seems okay, actually. Could you try again, Danny? Oh no, she's gone.
No. Let's
I'm here. Did you hear anything I said? That was so eloquent. I'm sad now.
we heard the beginning, but not the last 60 seconds.
Okay.
After you said you were sad, it was like
Garbled.
it was a lot of garbled talk.
Oh man. All right. Well, I just want to say I believe really strongly in the intentions of the Unicorn DAC. I think it's important to distribute some of that administrative work, and I think it's great that we're able to value it. And I appreciate all of the intentions that are there. If we're not able to do it, then let's just put it on pause and work on getting it into a DAO. But that I would rather not see that. I would like us to see some sort of continue. Like I said, otherwise we might as well just pay Lorelei to do it.
You want to pass it to someone?
Has Bowen gone yet?
Nope.
Okay.
No, so this is just direct reaction now. Okay, so I so clearly understand Chris's position, but I clearly understand Griff's position on this as well, and I'm kind of torn because I understand how much extra work it is to do, but I also agree with the idea that us all having eyes on each other, like kind of help support the idea that we are operating as a DAC and that we ourselves are responsible for making sure that everyone else gets paid. And I think that even if it is at this point somewhat of a token gesture that we are operating within this sort of the spreadsheet, filling people's milestone system. I think that it does kind of, it forces us to sort of, take a look at, what everybody is doing, what's being done, and like saying, hey, I think that this is an important thing that's being done. Have some die. I kind of feel that way, but at the same time, I do think that the way that it's being done probably is the biggest sticking point, because I kind of just wish that there was a way that we could automate it so it didn't require us to, like, we could just do it within the DApp is kind of what I'm getting at. But yeah, I honestly, I don't know how to react to it other than I'm okay with continuing to do it the way that it's being done, even though I think that it could be done better. Who else has not reacted? Maybe Jeff?
Yeah, I think I mean, I've been a little bit more removed from the Unicorn DAC process than most of you. And I think it's a very valuable experiment. I definitely identify with some of the pain points as brought up by the proposal. As far as an actual vote, I mean, I guess this is just a reaction round, but I think I will abstain from the vote just because I don't have the hands-on experience with the Unicorn DAC and the knowledge on how to address those pain points. But I think it's interesting that I mean, we're experimenting with all sorts of different kinds of governance, and I think if in that experimental mindset, we need to be open to altering or stopping or starting, according to the needs that we're identifying through the processes. But I think it's a wonderful experiment, but there are definitely still some pain points that could be addressed. But yeah, I think there's people here with more hands-on experience of the process than I have. Is there anybody who has not gone yet? Danica, Lorelei? Did you already speak? Chris, Griff, Bowen? Or is that everybody?
Yeah, everybody went.
No, what did Lorelei go? No, Lorelei didn't go.
Oh,
I'm sorry, we were muted.
Yeah, I didn't go yet. So yeah, I see some value in this proposal. I think the main point that the main valuable effect of this proposal I see is that people would know how fast their milestones are going to get filled on average. And I do believe in workers' rights, and I'm a strong person on that, and like on people's right to be able to rely on pay and have clarity around that. And I definitely think that creates some of the main points of tension in Giveth. So I see that value there. I also think that would be like a whole shift, though. Like that would be a value shift as well as a strategy shift. I think that the whole like one person acts as payroll person and also like workers' rights union reps sort of thing, like making sure everybody has equal rights here. That whole approach is it's a package. It comes with demoting, cutbacks to hours, comes with firing. And so I think if we were to switch to that approach, we need to know that Giveth wants to and is going to adopt that culture. And then we'd need to know that someone, probably Griff, is down to take on that difficult role, because it would eliminate the self-management system that we have going now. People self-regulate their own pay with this system, and effectively that they're managing themselves a lot, and people do. A lot of people stop paying themselves when they're not working very hard, or when they're totally absent or whatever. And so if we're to take out that function, we have to replace it, because already, I mean, even with some people self-managing themselves to some extent, I think we're still like draining funds on like paying hours that I know lots of people have said, hey, those hours shouldn't have been paid. And regarding the 150 a week, that unicorn milestone was that 150 a week was for being a unicorn, which like includes delegating every week and just being present in the way that you need to be present in Giveth in order to understand enough what's going on in the galaxy to make good delegation choices. So I don't think it would make sense in this case to like keep that. But that was a great thing, because there's a lot of us who do so much by just having that attention in the space that's hard to quantify any other way. You know, all these hours of just knowing what's going on and keeping up with people and understanding which work is really valuable and should be paid. We wanted to reward people for that, just upkeeping that awareness. I would say, Chris, you said that there isn't an improvement in just delegations, and I disagree with that. I think I don't think a lot of people necessarily saw fully what it was like before, when Griff was just choosing to fund things at the time and speed and bias that he was. It was very biased, and unreliable, and he's one guy with a lot of other things to do, and so like the Unicorn DAC definitely was decentralizing those decisions, even if we felt like condemned to like, oh, I have to fill someone's regular rewards every week. At least it was more, there were more eyes on that than his. And I know that he would just like not fill people's milestones when he didn't feel like they were doing well. And that's like fair because he's a donor, but it's more just to have at least have 6 people making those decisions than one. And then I think my last thing to say is that I just think it's really interesting that nobody asked if I wanted to do this role. There was no advice process on like the role that was slotted for me in this proposal, of me being given the job of delegating a fixed amount to all the milestones every week, without the other Unicorn DAC processes. And that's not a role I want to do. For several reasons. I mean, already the way the Unicorn DAC is, it's gotten into like a really heavy admin role, and I don't feel that I'm able to like lead it in the way I was passionate about in the beginning. But I'm down for now because I know it's an interim. But as far as like canceling the Unicorn DAC and taking on a completely different admin role, it's like I feel so not passionate about that, and I don't feel like I get to do very much like fun or experimental or passionate work in Giveth, or like in the commons stack right now. I'm doing a lot of admin, and I'm not down to just be slotted into another admin task role. So if this proposal were to pass, it would need to have someone else clearly fitting that duty. That's my feedback. And I think I was the last one.
Okay, I think so too. We didn't miss anyone. No. Okay. Then I'll amend and what is it? Amend and yeah. I'm gonna just I'm gonna try to keep it short because you all said a lot of very intelligent and useful stuff as always. So I took some notes for each of you, and I'll briefly respond to some of the important things I guess that were said. First overall reaction, I'm not going to try to pass any proposal because I don't think that's going to work. But I think it's good to have this discussion being had for sure. So to give some quick feedback on people, Griff said that right now it's and Lorelai said something similar as well, that and so did Danny, that we can like now we have more eyes on it, and so we can judge who to delegate it to, and it's not just Griff doing this. I get the logic and the intention behind it 100%, but I do not think personally that that is what is happening. I think there is quite some bias still happening. It's just more hidden right now, and that's the thing that I wanted to surface a little bit. It's no blame to anyone. It's just we're trying out new stuff, and I just wanted to surface that. I think if you move people up and down the list, you get bias. If you want to get funded, you will fund certain people even if you don't believe that person needs to get funded. There's all sorts of bias in there. And if some of them don't get funded, Griff will fund them anyways if he wants to fund them. So I think the bias is still there. It's just a little bit hidden. So I think there is a big level of not being just. Although I do get the full and good positive intentions of it. I just wanted to like surface that that is a point to me. Yeah, and I do believe again that if you believe that some people are not doing a good job, that the roles meeting is a better way to express that than if that person normally gets a regular reward, like not giving that reward to that person will not be doing anything valuable with that feedback because it's just like causing stress. Then Kai said like it doesn't fix the funding issue. It does not. So I agree with that. That's also not why I proposed this. I just wanted to raise the tension. The administrative distribution that Danny mentioned, personally, I don't think it distributes administration more. Yeah, it does, but it creates to me an extra layer of administration that does not add a lot. And again, it's my personal opinion. It's also my proposal. Yeah, so the fact that what Bowen said, it's good to see what other people are doing. Again, I don't think we really are seeing what everyone is doing. I think the roles meeting is a better place to see that. I see always Danny putting a lot of feedback in when she reads the milestone. She also sometimes sends feedback. So that's something I see that she does. I don't think everyone really reads the milestones completely. I don't read the milestones entirely either. Because yeah, already delegating takes time. Then feedback to Lorelai's points. I agree definitely that pushing for more self-management, that is a good thing, and I completely agree that this is something that the Unicorn DAC has helped with a lot. I think we've all become more conscious of like do we deserve this regular reward or not? I also agree with the point that she said that sometimes we still are paying hours that we might not believe that they were deserved, and I don't think the Unicorn DAC is currently fixing that or should be fixing that, if I understood it correctly. Yeah, the fact what Lorelai said that there was no advice process to assign her to that role, that was definitely not my intention to just assign Lorelai to that role. I think that would have happened in like yeah, just like in the roles meeting by adding a role and seeing who picks it up. But I was pretty sure that this was not going to be something that passed. I just wanted to like write it all down and surface it a little bit. And that was a long amendment. I just wanted to say that I hope nobody holds this against me for like surfacing this, because this is in no way. And I tried to make this Lumiere proposal because in the previous meeting in Unicorn DAC, I was a little bit emotional. Apologize again for that one. And I just wanted to like surface that this is a system that we need to keep improving. So and that we need to keep looking how we can make better decentralized systems and document it. So my proposal is to not change anything right now, but to actively all together see how we can improve it in the future, because I think that's a little bit consensus I heard here, and to all look for funding. So proposal tabled.
Okay. Well, that was that
Long.
proposal took up the entire meeting.
It
So,
did.
well, I think we have to end it, guys. Closing round. I'll just say, it was fun to discuss the ins and outs of the Unicorn DAC, and I think we need to get more meetings on the Unicorn DAC and more roles meetings, and those more address the symptoms than or the causes than changing the Unicorn DAC. I'll pass it to Kai.
Yeah, it is actually very interesting to talk about the community. I just wanted to leave one thing. There was always, of course, the possibility to, if you don't do it, you could remove yourself from the Unicorn DST. But nobody wants that. But it's very obvious that it could be a thing. And I do think that once we go into sanctions, the Unicorn DSC would prove very useful, because they actually checking something. So thank you for the proposal, because it's always important to talk about things. And I have to said more. I hope a roast meeting is up soon. Yeah, I would like to have one and talk about the Unicorn DSC also. Give it to Dylan.
This was really fun to actually hear what everybody thought about this, because I know I had mixed feelings about it as well. I'm glad that you brought it up, Chris, and I'm glad we all got to talk about it. I don't know what else to say, but I will hand it over to Jeff.
Good meeting, everybody, and glad to hear the varying opinions on an important governance experiment. And happy to be here and be part of this, and looking forward to the next one. Who has not gone yet? Danny, maybe?
Yeah, me. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay. I would love to see us schedule our next Unicorn meeting ASAP. I think it's very important. I heard some vague statements that trouble me. If any of us are witnessing things that appear to be unjust or biased, I would sincerely hope that that is something that we are raising right away and being very specific. That's what the meeting is supposed to be for, is to say, hey, I question how these delegations are happening. How can we make sure that we're all in agreement and keeping each other accountable? So that's just my big feedback right now, is I feel like if we're talking about all of these things in the forum as we're supposed to, let's get back to that and address these things, because if something doesn't feel just, then we need to address it, and that's what we're all here for. That's why I love working with you guys and doing these things. So I can't wait for that next meeting, and I'll pass it to Griff.
I already went. Lorelei.
Yeah. So I totally think this proposal and conversation it brought on is valuable. No, nothing held against Chris, for sure. No, I actually really appreciate the discussion. And that's about it. Has anyone not checked out yet?
I haven't.
Okay.
But I kind of did a huge checkout. So I'll just limit it to saying like thank you for like listening to me so long, because I know that was quite the monologue twice. But there was so much nuance and so much information, so I just wanted to address all the things a little bit. So yeah, I am also, like Kai said, big time in favor for more roles meetings, so that no tensions do build up. Chris said that as well. Like this is more of a symptom situation. Like I think more role meetings are definitely a good thing. I am not so much in favor of more unicorn meetings and less, because I don't think that is where those things get addressed. I don't think right now the unicorn meetings have a clear agenda. I think that would be a good thing to have that though. And yeah, thank you so much all. This was a very interesting meeting. Thanks.
Cool. Is that everyone? I'll take that as a yes. See you guys.
Bye.
See you, everybody.
Take care, everybody.